Howdy my totally tubular sharkaholics, and we are back for another shark video, and today's is finally Jaws. But not this one. We're looking at the Italian spin-off that is not official, called Cruel Jaws. Yes, released in the late 90s, a Italian ripoff of Jaws came out known as Cruel Jaws. It was officially re-released in 2020 when the copyright ban had been lifted, and it's a very interesting movie.
Like, a majority of the movie is reused. So Cruel Jaws has a plot, I think. I think it has a plot. It has things that resemble a plot, but it's pretty incoherent. I think, though, it's about this resort, or this, like, wannabe Six Flags Marine World, and the people can't pay rent because they don't have any money, or something along those lines. And then a shark shows up and attacks them, and they go to try to defeat the shark to get money, so then they can pay their rent. And I think that's what the plot's about. It's about them trying to save SeaWorld, and this is very clearly the SeaWorld from Jaws 3D. But even with that as the plot, I'm not entirely sure that's like the plot. See, Cruel Jaws decides to have half a dozen subplots in it that ultimately go nowhere, and there's so many conflicting plot lines that at this point I just get lost. The people I was watching with also got lost, and I'm just not really too sure what the actual plot is. I mean, they fight the shark, I think, and they're trying to save SeaWorld, I think, but there's just so much other stuff going on, like multiple love interest story, a guy who just loves fish too much and can't respect his girlfriend, who's also cheating on him but might break up with him, the dolphins being poisoned, the mob getting involved, this Hulk Hogan looking dude just chilling, I guess. I don't really know where the plot goes in this movie. I don't really know what's happening. There's just so many different plot lines going on at once that it's the definition of convoluted and just incoherent. Like, it's just too much. It's all like totally unnecessary. Like, you don't need this many plot points, plot lines, characters, storylines. You don't need any of all this crap yet. Honestly, the other Jaws movies are known for their easy to understand, fine plots. Like, they weren't this convoluted mess that this is, and it's just not good.
What is she doing? What is she picked up? What is what the?
Oh my god. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Since there's so many plot lines in this movie, I honestly think that it takes from every single one of the Jaws movies. It takes the plot from each Jaws movie and tries to put it all into one movie, and it's about as ridiculous as it sounds, and it looks about what you'd think it would look like. Shit. So the plot sucks, the characters suck, the motivation sucks, the dialogue sucks, the writing sucks, and all of it, there's just too much of all of that. But what about the shark in the movie? Well, there is a shark, yes.
It's like very clearly rubber.
That's not a cover, that's just a toy gun.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's real. It's like this movie.
However, this is the classic case of there's a ton of shark scenes in this movie. The shark is in a ton of different scenes, there's tons of screen time, there's some kills. However, not a single one of these scenes is original. It is all taken from other shark movies. Not only are they taken from other shark movies, they're taken from other shark movies I've reviewed on this channel. And those movies took them from other movies. At this point, I don't even know the original movie that these shark scenes came from unless it's from Jaws. Those are easy to tell. Now, this movie, it is so obvious when it is not using footage that they recorded for this movie. So every shark scene, the quality goes to crap, it looks way worse, and it's like extremely obvious it was taken from another movie. The shark movie I noticed that most of the scenes came from was The Last Shark, which was also an Italian movie that was kind of a ripoff of Jaws, but it's just so blatantly obvious it's from that movie. It's the exact same scene. It looks terrible because it was filmed like 20 years earlier. When the fuck did this happen in the other Jaws movies?
Other outtakes.
They're shooting at the shark with a sniper. Really, it's just embarrassing is what it is, and because it's so embarrassing, I'm not even going to talk about the shark. I mean, yeah, the original scenes were great. in the original movies they were in, not when they're all chopped up and put together like this. This just looks stupid. The kills were great in the originals, but not here, where it's just ridiculous and very poorly done. And some of the scenes get repeated over and over with the shark. Like, it's the exact same scene, just repeated. It's not even just the shark scenes that are reused footage from other movies. Like, there are tons of scenes in this movie where this is just straight copying and pasting scenes from other Jaws movies. Like, the scene with the dolphins is just straight from Jaws. And the way it's all edited together is just atrocious. Like, the editing that I'm doing for this video is better than the editing of this movie. There's no establishing shots. It's not clear where anything is. The camera zooms in and out like way too much. The cuts are way too abrupt. There's no flow to the movie. It makes it feel incredibly long. This movie goes on too long. The editing was just a complete catastrophe. It's all bad. There's nothing good here. And it's some of the worst editing I've legitimately ever seen in a movie. Like, I cannot believe how bad this is. Just look at this scene.
It was terrible. When we heard about the accident, we just couldn't believe it.
It's a terrible hangout, right?
Oh my
You saw
god.
like the beginning of that scene? They
Yeah,
like
they're
weren't
just
walking.
standing.
It was like
They couldn't cut it in
They
2 seconds
couldn't-
before.
Yeah, it's just terrible. And the music that is in the movie is just straight Star Wars music. Like, I can't even describe it any other way. It's almost exactly the same as Star Wars. What happened?
Seriously!
Oh, and don't get me started when they try to act like the movie was filmed at night and it's clearly filmed during the day. Like, this is ridiculously bad. Like, it is so obvious that it's during the day, but they even sell it like it's nighttime. It's just not good. And then the acting, oh boy, the acting, where it's the same story. It's also just an abomination. There's nobody even half decent here. It's bad, 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 bad. The less said about the acting, the better, because it really is that awful. Speaking of awful, that's this movie as a whole. This is one of the worst shark movies I've ever seen. This is one of the worst movies I've ever seen. It was pretty awful. It's definitely the worst in the Jaws series, even though it isn't even technically part of it. But you know what? If you include the weird Italian spin-off that is this movie, then yes, it is the worst. This is just a horrible movie. It was horribly boring. It just went nowhere. It was confusing. It was kind of funny. There were parts that were just so awful that it was funny, but I, in good faith, cannot recommend this to anyone under any circumstances. I was pretty appalled by the time I was done with the movie. It wasn't to the point where I was questioning what I was even doing with my life, but I was just like, wow, that was bad. That was unredeemably bad. And I never want to think about this movie again, especially after this video. So, this movie gets a very boring 1 out of 5 on the shark scale. It is shark shit. I do not recommend. I wanted to fall asleep watching this movie for the most part, or was just really not amused with how many cutscenes there were from other movies that were way better than this, or even slightly better than this. And yeah, I just don't really want to talk about this movie anymore. So with all that out of the way, I hope everyone has a great night, great day, great fake night like this movie. Whatever it is, I'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.